Well, where do we start? This is a continuation of the story from Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, which was Judgment Day. And we're pretending the other films were a bad dream.
Nerderotic.com.
And maybe we can consider the latest film a bad dream as well. Greetings, welcome to my final video in my Terminator is a Bomb trilogy. There's a school of thought out there that you don't name your kids Chastity or Candy or Star because it greatly increases their chances of becoming a stripper. They should have thought about that before they titled Terminator Dark Fate, because that's what it suffered. It looks like the Terminator franchise has been terminated. But before I get started, if you like what I do here and you like independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking and sharing the videos. This would help me and your favorite YouTubers stay competitive against the giant corporations that YouTube is prioritizing at the moment, and it looks like the foreseeable future. This just dropped while I was recording a Star Wars video from The Hollywood Reporter. Terminator reboot Dark Fate puts franchise on ice. Faces $120 million plus loss. And this is how this stuff is going to get defeated, folks. So if you really want Star Trek or Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, or Doctor Who to change, this is the only way to do it. I can sit here and talk until I'm blue in the face, but unless people start putting away their wallets, that is not going to change. The film bombed in its US debut over the weekend with $29 million. A storied Hollywood film franchise has been terminated, at least for the foreseeable future. Then, for some reason, they repeat the information that it fell behind expectations. I've read the comments. I've heard the clapback that I was being too hard on this film and it wasn't as woke as I thought it was. And I respectfully disagree with you. I think this thing was completely woke. I'm not sure what you're comparing it to. If you're comparing it to things like comic books, yes, the SJWs have completely taken over the comic book industry, so it wasn't as woke as your average garden variety Marvel comic book, but it was woke for Hollywood standards. It just wasn't really that well done, and the agenda was very ham-fisted at best, but it was definitely there. Were there positives? Sure, but I am not a critic. I am just a bloke with an opinion, and my opinion is don't waste your time with this damn movie. Nor was its performance much better overseas, where it has earned $94.6 million to date, including a lackluster China launch at $28 million for a global total of $123.6 million. And I'm guessing if China thought The Last Jedi was filled with a bunch of old ugly people, that they might have thought the same thing about this film. That's what they said, not me. Dark Fate faces a loss of $120 million plus for partners Skydance Media, Paramount Pictures, and 20th Century Fox, Disney, which each put up 30% of the $185 million budget. That's not counting marketing. Disney now owns the Fox Film Studio, will absorb the loss. I'm not sure if that's proper English, but who am I to say? Sources tell The Hollywood Reporter China's Tencent has a 10% stake. That's very coincidental that Tencent has a 10% stake. The red ink could end up at $130 million if the pick doesn't hold internationally. Conversely, the losses could be closer to $110 million if it does have strong legs offshore, sources added. While the losses will be spread around Dark Fate's surprisingly poor performance, no, I would have been surprised if it performed well, is a blow for David Ellison's Skydance and fake woke marketing, which has spent tens of millions trying to reboot the James Cameron created series that first hit the big screen back in 1984. It's also a blow for Paramount, which needs franchises. You damn right, because Paramount is now going to be absorbed within Viacom, and we know that Alex Kurtzman's Star Trek only has so much more time. It's going to have a dark fate, just like Terminator. Ellison's first attempt was Terminator Genesis in 2015, released in partnership with Warner Brothers. The movie was reviled by critics, and Ellison went back to the drawing board. The movie, costing more than $150 million to produce before marketing, grossed $440.6 million globally. Man, edit your article. So wasn't a franchise disaster? Genesis earned more than $100 million in China alone, but faltered in the US, where it topped out at $89.8 million domestically. The reason it did well in China, it had young pretty people and explosions. The reason Dark Fate didn't do well in China, it had old ugly people and explosions. And it also had fake woke politics, which they don't like over there for some reason. And here's the crux of most of the problems with Hollywood. Gynesis was supposed to be the first of a trilogy. Planning out a trilogy before your first movie's a hit is something that Hollywood needs to stop doing. Ellison scrapped for the two follow-ups. Who wrote this? But wasn't willing to give up entirely. He arranged for Cameron to come back and produce Dark Fate, as well as helped arrange for the return of original stars Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger. The problem is, Cameron didn't even bother to show up on set. Now, Cameron did a good job producing Alita with Robert Rodriguez. I love that movie. I wish there was the same result here, but unfortunately, Tim Miller apparently is very hard to work with. That's why he was fired from Deadpool, and I'm guessing Cameron's not very happy with him, especially since he recently threw shade at him. This is from a Screen Rant article that came out the day Terminator premiered. This is a film that was forged in fire, so yeah, but that's the creative process, right? I mean, my work with Robert on Alita was very different, and we loved Alita. Robert loved the script, loved everything, said, I just want to make this movie. I want to make the movie the way you see it. I was like, no, you got to make it your movie. I had the reverse experience with Tim, which is Tim wanted to make his movie. And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of know a little about this world. So I had the matter and the antimatter version of that producerial experience.
I'm a dick. That's what that
No.
That's what that translates in Hollywood speak to. Tim was a real dick.
A direct sequel to Cameron's Terminator Judgment Day, which really confuses everything, to be honest with you. From 1991, the R-rated Dark Fate was directed by Deadpool helmer Tim Miller. Mackenzie Davis, Natalie Reyes, Gabriel Luna, and Diego Boneta also starred. Box office analysis say the movie's poor opening is a reflection of a complete IP failure. Insiders at Paramount and Skydance don't disagree. And if you're willing to listen to anybody here on YouTube or any fan of Terminator, now I'm a fan of the first two. I can't say like I'm a hardcore Terminator fan. Again, I like the first two films. I like Sarah Connor Chronicles. Now, if you wanted to make a Terminator where you de-aged Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger for an entire film and made it a period piece with the younger version of both of these actors, which I'm predicting they will do sooner than later with some film, I would be interested in that. And the next two statements prove why there are so many misses in Hollywood, because they hire Dick Tracy's like this. It's time to let the franchise finally go to the great beyond, says Eric Handler of MKM Partners. Well, where were you about 3 movies ago? Adds Jeff Brox, or Captain Obvious of Exhibitor Relations. This is definitely the end of the line for the Terminator franchise in its current iteration. Really? That said, IPs are harder to kill off than Jason Voorhees these days. I'm guessing there's going to be a bloodletting in the next couple of years because a lot of this has been fake as the dot-com boom from the early 2000s. You have a lot of investor money in Hollywood right now for two things: the streaming wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If you can pitch to somebody that we can make a cinematic universe with our franchises, we can be Marvel, you have a lot of suckers who are going to take that money. Alex Kurtzman found some pretty easily. Alex Kurtzman is one of the Terminators sent from the present, destroying one of our favorite franchises, Star Trek. None of the companies involved would comment on their losses, and I don't really blame them for that. But sources close to Skydance say there are certainly no plans for another film at this point. David Ellison acquired the rights to Terminator from his sister, producer Megan Ellison, who bought them for a reported $20 million in 2011. Christ, you could have crowdfunded that. A lot of people are going to get paid a lot of money to overanalyze the failure of this film, and I'm not judging. You do you get that cheddar. The reason Terminator Dark Fate failed, aside from all the fake woke marketing, was James Cameron wasn't directing it and Arnold Schwarzenegger isn't under the age of 45. The reason this film failed wasn't entirely the fake woke marketing. That pushed it over the edge, but Hollywood felt like that was going to push it over the hump. Unfortunately, that's the current year trend that is now ending, thankfully, but it's going to end some of our favorite franchises. We've been trying to tell Hollywood that we will come and watch your films. We will give you more money if you stop shoving agenda down our throat and making our favorite franchises or even a basic action film some sort of political statement or some sort of political platform. I know Chris Stuckman recently just did a video stating that scripts are being sold more based on the fact that they have social justice agenda in them. So this might be what's perpetuating this, and it only takes one to massively fail to finally get Hollywood to wake up. But if they don't, I might be just okay with walking away. I'm finding better entertainment, quite frankly, on YouTube, watching somebody's live stream with 100 subscribers, because it's better than anything they are producing on film. Finding out that James Cameron was the one who came up with the idea about killing John Connor at the beginning of the film really is disappointing. About the other 11 people who are writing this movie, listen, at face value, Terminator Dark Fate was a very inclusive and diverse film, but the one thing it was lacking was not POC, it was POT. People of talent. We need a lot more of that in Hollywood, and maybe we'll get a lot more original work. You can tell James Cameron was more focused on Avatar, and he really doesn't give two craps about the Terminator, because he was basically saying the same stuff the last time we had a Terminator film, when Genesis was out.
Being very respectful of the first two films.
Hopefully, Hollywood gets the message, and we had to sacrifice a franchise that shouldn't have been a franchise to do it. Maybe they'll listen, but I doubt it. The only way they will listen for sure is if we stop going to these films. If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, well, thank you for listening this long. That's about it for my Terminator videos. I got a Star Wars video coming out soon, among other things. Take care.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.
Well, here's one of those stingers. This dropped this morning as I was uploading the video from The Hollywood Reporter. James Cameron has plotted out a trilogy, now in doubt given the film's soft performance at the US box office. But what if it lived on as a TV series? You have got to be fucking kidding me. We won't be back.